Hey guys, welcome back again. It is me, Cyrus, and we're talking more about this really awesome, amazing, phenomenal, high quality, extremely compatible emulator. This new Atari Jaguar Emulator. It's an emulator, sir. And it's doing beautiful, wonderful things for the Jaguar. It's reinvigorating the Jaguar. It's giving it a new life. It's retro reimagining without retro reimagining. It's just making Jaguar games work better than they probably ever could or should have. Or, well, they should have, but yeah. It's just doing awesome stuff. It's an amazing emulator. Thank you so much, Rich Whitehouse. Thank you, sir. I cannot thank you enough. I'm a fan of this console. Absolutely love Atari. I love the Jaguar. And it's nice. It's really, really nice to see this emulated so well. My first experience with his emulator was with the Atari 50 collection. This is the same emulator that's on that collection playing Jaguar games. And this emulator has been released for free for you to download, and you can try out whatever Jaguar games you want, the cartridge games anyway, and yeah, play around with the emulator. You might get different results than I have, but it can do some awesome stuff. It can give you up to 3 times the processor speed, so it can, and that could be good or bad. There's some games that it has some problems. They just run too fast, but there's some games that it just does wonders for. One of those games is Tempest 2000. And I wanted to take a look at Tempest 2000 running on this emulator, the Jaguar version running on this emulator, and compare that to Tempest 2000 running on the Sega Saturn and running on the PlayStation. If you are able to unlock Tempest 2000 in Tempest X on the PlayStation, then you have that as well. Now, all of these versions are a little different. It's not like a straight apples to apples comparison, but I just want to take a look at all 3 of them and sort of come up with my own thoughts about what I think is the best version of these 3. So let's take a look. I've captured some video from this emulator, and this is from the Bigpemu, running Jaguar stuff, obviously. We've got 3x speed set, and we're going to load up Tempest 2000. So let's take a look at Tempest 2000 running on this emulator. And you can see that speed increase is making a huge difference already. Right there off the bat, you can see what it's doing right there. Just really cool. It's a little too fast, but that frame rate is really great. The good news is the game runs perfectly fine as far as speed is concerned. It just has a much better frame rate. So here we go. Let's take a look. Tempest 2000 on the Jaguar running on this awesome emulator, Bigpemu. Some things I'd like to draw your attention to is there are some slight issues with the color that fills in the polygons reaching the edges, and that's a Jaguar issue in this particular version. That's not an emulator issue. Take a look at the color usage. Obviously that's important because we're going to compare that to the other versions. Like, how good is the gradient of color? How does it look on screen? You know, what are your thoughts about that? The resolution that the game is rendered at, pay attention to how sharp the actual polygons are, and especially your ship, the resolution of your ship. That's something to notice. But overall, just kind of drink it in, and we'll watch a little bit more.
Super Dapper Recharge.
So you can clearly see this is handling Tempest 2000 very well at a much higher frame rate than what the actual Jaguar version can do. Unfortunately, that version it's fine. It's just not quite as smooth as this. Okay, so we're going to move on and we're going to take a look at the next version. And that is the Sega Saturn version. And I'm running this on my actual Saturn. And this is running through RGB coming out of the Saturn into my RetroTink 2X. And we will take a look and see how this compares. You can see obviously the frame rate on this opening sequence is a lot lower than what we saw a second ago. But this is in line with the way it looked on the original Jaguar without any kind of speed enhancement. But we're concerned about the game and how the game runs and how the game looks. So let's take a look at the actual game running on the Sega Saturn here. And again, what we want to be looking at is the detail level, the frame rate, the colors, how all that works. Also notice that the colors do meet the edges of the polygons in the front of it. So this does correct that issue. Try to notice also the detail level, the resolution of your ship, because it is a little bit higher in this version. Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and move on, and we're going to take a look at that unlockable version of Tempest 2000 that's on Tempest X for the PlayStation. And you'll notice there are some differences in that version as well, but some interesting things to point out. Let's take a look at that. This is running on my PlayStation 3 over HDMI, or excuse me, I have this going out as component video being captured that way through HDMI, through a converter that converts that to HDMI. Okay. So we'll load this up. I'm going to actually skip this ahead just a little bit because I have to unlock it here. So this is how it looks if you don't have it unlocked. And then if you load your memory card up with your save game where you've unlocked it, then you get the option to play Tempest 2000. Okay, so here we go. We're going to take a look at the game and see how it compares to the other two versions. You can see the colors in the polygons are a little muted, but some of the other colors are kind of popping a little more, like your lasers that you're shooting and the power-ups and stuff like that. So that's interesting to note. The colors do go all the way to the edges, like the Saturn version, and the resolution does seem to be about the same. One thing I will tell you, and you may not be able to see it in this video, is that the PlayStation version does have a little bit of an issue as far as the grain that you're going to see in the colors. And that's because the PlayStation actually pretty much puts dithering on everything. It just dithers all over the place. That's what PlayStation does. It dithers. So that does kind of impact the colors, which has probably got a lot to do with why they look so muted here. But frame rate wise, personally, I think this looks about the same as the Saturn version as far as frame rate and resolution. But I would say the colors are definitely better on the Saturn version, and it doesn't have that dithering. Although I will say Tempest X has a lot in it. That disc has a lot of different stuff, different versions and enhancements, different ways you can play Tempest beyond what's in Tempest 2000 for the Saturn. And obviously much more than what's on the original Jaguar version. So which version is best? Which one of these is the best? Well, I think it would be really, really unfair to make that comparison if you're comparing them to the Jaguar directly, because the Jaguar was the first version, and that hardware is not nearly as capable as the Saturn and the PlayStation. But with this emulator, it definitely does improve what's possible on the Jaguar version. As you can see, it's a huge improvement. The frame rate is hugely improved. It's much clearer. It's just a really solid way to play Tempest 2000. If you play this on the Atari 50 collection, you're not going to get this speed enhancement unless there's some way to reach that menu where you can do that, which maybe there is and I don't know about it. And if you do, please let me know. I would appreciate that. But with the speed enhancement on the emulator that you can run on PC, wow, you can really get that really smooth frame rate that the other versions of Tempest 2000 have. So I think no matter what version you play, you're going to be having a blast with Tempest 2000. So thank you so much once again to Rich Whitehouse for putting together just an immaculately beautiful emulator that can do amazing things. So yeah, if you get a chance, stop by his website. There's a link in the description. Check out the emulator. Let the guy know how much you appreciate what he's doing. And game on. Enjoy one of the greatest shooter games, puzzle shooter games. I don't know what you call Tempest 2000, but enjoy. This game is amazing. It's one of my all-time favorite games. And just enjoy it, whatever version you like the most. Thanks, guys, for watching. More videos coming soon, and I will talk to you later. You take care.